we have to talk about the match which was meant to be Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher. Now, on the pre-show, it was announced that Adam Cole had relinquished the championship and would not be in the match, and instead it would be a fatal four-way. On the show, Adam Cole did come out. It was very emotional. It was a very sad speech which he gave. He's revealed that he's got some health issues. He said he's not going to say one way or another on retirement right now. He doesn't even want to think about that. He is not in the right headspace to, but he was clearly very emotional. It was honestly a very sad moment, but I'm glad that AEW gave him the opportunity to go out there and do that, to get that message across. But then the TNT Championship match, which followed it, and of course, get well soon to Adam Cole, right? We got DCX Warlords in prayers for Adam Cole, absolutely. Hopefully he can return. I really, really hope this isn't the end for him in AEW. But then we got onto that TNT Championship. Dustin Rhodes, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, and Sammy Guevara. Look, the truth is, obviously the stadium is quite quiet. A lot of people were quite emotional for the majority of this match. So you needed a moment to hook fans back in. And what better way to do that than to put the title on somebody who's from Texas in Dustin Rhodes? Is he going to have a long reign? Absolutely not. But did he get the crowd back into the show, and was it a feel-good moment and a moment that Dustin deserves? Absolutely, in my opinion. Shad, do you agree?
Yeah, man. I think first and foremost, Adam Cole, man, my heart goes out to him. I pray for him. I hope he is able to overcome all the adversities in good health and everything, man. The guy has he's phenomenal professional wrestler. He's given us so much incredible moments in his time in every promotion from ROH to NXT to what we have in AEW. So I pray for that. And I'm glad they did give him the opportunity to give some words and, kind of share that moment at All In, as vulnerable as it is. But the match itself, I think this was the right audible to what you have said. Going into a point where we kind of felt a little, upset, sad about the moment, bummed about everything, the crowd super emotional. You get them into a feel good moment, and that is the feel good moment, allowing Dustin Rhodes, a guy who just, has been a staple to the wrestling industry as long as he has, getting that moment in Texas, being from Texas, seeing how emotional he was, man. It's hard not to be happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who's like, I've been watching since I was a kid, and seeing him as a grown man, old in age, still being able to compete with the best of them. It was a feel good moment. I do think this is going to be a short reign. And I think this is a good opportunity to create one of the biggest heels in the wrestling promotion. And that can be Kyle Fletcher, eventually getting that title off of him and, just doing it in maybe dominant fashion. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, I don't know if it was the right call initially for me. I thought Fletcher was going to win it, but the more I thought about it throughout the show, I think, it was a good audible. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, what I personally would do, to your point, is take this title off Dustin fairly quickly. You gave him the moment. It was a feel-good, match on the show. Maybe an open challenge on Wednesday, or maybe Forbidden Door. Then give Kyle Fletcher the belt because he does deserve it. But Anthony, I'd love to know your perspective on this.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I think this was Fletcher's to win if it was against Adam Cole. I think them pulling the audible and pivoting. Sometimes in wrestling, that gives you the best stuff that you're not anticipating. When they made the announcement they were going to do a four-way, I was like, why Dustin and Sammy? Other than the fact that they're from Texas, like that was my first thought when they made the announcement. But to Adam Cole, I do want to mention one thing. I've always been a big fan of Adam Cole. It's a shame that he's had nothing but bad luck in AEW. He went in there as one of the hottest free agents, and his AEW run has been nothing short of a disaster, whether creatively or injury wise. Wishing him nothing but the best. I'm hoping it's not the end of his career. Obviously, we don't know what his injury is, but as upset as he is, it's obviously something that could put the end to his career. It was awesome to see Dustin at that moment. He's won championships. He's a future Hall of Famer. There's no question on that. but to get that moment in Texas, and not only to do it in Texas, his nephew's being there, but he's also holding the title that his brother put on the map in AEW. So there's that connection there, and that full circle moment for him. And no one really expected him to win it. I wanted him to. Once they announced it was 4-way, I was like, they're probably going to give it to Fletcher. But sentimentally, I wanted Dustin to win it, and he did, which I was surprised. I think ultimately Fletcher will get it off of him in dramatic fashion, and it gets him more heat that he's taken this moment away from Dustin. He's taken this title away from Dustin. It gives him more heat, almost like the legend killer Randy Orton, which is kind of the gimmick that he's kind of running with here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely on that one. I do agree with you. Was that feel-good moment? It was fantastic. And you mentioned Cody, and so does DCX too. Cody was the inaugural champion. Now Dustin is the champion. Family lineage. People are joking, Dustin's finished his story, whatever, right? But the fact is, it is Dustin's first singles title in 17 years.
Mhm.
Well deserved. Well deserved.